Welcome back to Faces and Places across the United States. This week's guest is Bob, who Sandra is calling in Ohio. Welcome back, Sandra.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our web chat, Faces and Places Across the United States. My name is Sandra, and I'll be your host today. Today, I'll be talking to our guest, Bob. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Sandra. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here today in our American English at State Facebook page. So we are delighted to have you here and for having you join in this web chat. Before we begin, let's ask our audience, where are they joining us from today? Please let us know in the comments box. Bob, thanks again for being here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from and where are you now?
Well, again, thank you for having me and thank everyone for joining. I was born and raised outside of Cleveland, Ohio, on the shore of Lake Erie. And I went away for a little while for my university studies, but now I live back on the west side of Cleveland with my wife and daughters.
Here we have a beautiful picture of Cleveland, Ohio. Is that a river or a lake?
That is the Cuyahoga River in downtown Cleveland.
That's beautiful.
That flows through the northern part of Ohio out to Lake Erie.
So what is Ohio known for? Do you know why? I think I heard something about the Buckeye State. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Right, yes, Ohio is the Buckeye State. Buckeyes are a type of tree that is native to this region. And we do have a lot of big cities in our state. Cleveland, obviously, but Columbus, Cincinnati, Toledo, Akron, Canton. And those are big manufacturing cities. The auto and steel industries have been big here for decades. But Ohio's a big, expansive natural state. And it's tucked between the Ohio River on the southern border and Lake Erie on the northern border. And we have a lot of parks, a lot of natural parks that are meant to preserve a lot of the beauty that's in the state.
Well, I have to ask you about the weather. How is it there today? Is it pretty cold?
It is cold. It's right around 30 degrees Fahrenheit here today. And last week we had about a foot of snow fall on us. Lake effect snow comes across Lake Erie. And we had about a foot of snow or 30 centimeters. And today, a week later, we still have about half that amount of snow still on the ground outside my window here.
Wow, did you build a snowman?
We did not, but my niece came by and used her footprints and wrote a message of hello in the snow to us at our home.
That's always fun. I want to tell you that we have people from all over the world watching us. We have Luis saying hello from the Netherlands. We have Liz from Cleveland. We have Kram from Pakistan. We have Anura from Kyrgyzstan. We also have Monica saying hello from Western Florida. We have Amur Salim saying hello from Indonesia. We have Nadal saying hello from Jordan. We also have Octaviano saying hello from Mexico. We have Arinom saying hello from Bangladesh. We have Nazir from Turkey, Sheen from Tunisia. We have Harmony from Myanmar. We have Ana Maria from Wyoming. And we have Jenny from Ecuador, Ekaterina from Georgia, the country of Georgia, Marcelo from Brazil, and Josie from Haiti. So this is just to name a few. We have people from all over the world watching us today.
That's fantastic.
And I also, before we start the conversation, I want to wish you a happy birthday. I heard that today is your birthday.
It is. Thank you.
So happy birthday.
Thank
I
you.
also wanted to share with you what our audience is saying and what they have asked for you. I think we have a couple of slides with some questions. So we have Karima asking, my students would like to ask Bob if he practices his favorite hobbies with friends or alone. So I'm going to ask you that later. And
Okay.
also, how much time does it take you to practice your hobby? We also have Shana saying, eagerly waiting for today's episode. We have Shanti saying, of course, we are in the mood to meet somebody new today. We have Karima saying, thank you so much for the wonderful sessions. We have David saying, I'm waiting for this episode. We have Shana saying, eagerly waiting. And we have Sokasi saying, I'm looking forward to watching this webinar. So thanks again. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do? What is your profession?
Well, it's so cool to be able to meet people virtually from all over the world. It's great. Thank you again for having me. I'm an associate professor of English at Kent State University's Start campus. I've been teaching for 23 years, and I teach mostly creative writing. I teach a lot of workshops on how to write poetry and short stories, as well as basic English composition courses.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about your hobby, and you share with us a few of your hobbies, but you have one that is your favorite. Can you tell us what is your favorite hobby and how did you choose that hobby?
Sure, I'm a runner. I like to run, and in 2006, so almost 14 years ago, I went to the doctor for an annual checkup. And he said I had dangerously high blood pressure. And he put me on a couple medications to try and get it under control. I don't like taking medications unless I have to. And I asked, what can I do so that I don't have to take the medication anymore? And he said, you need to get healthier. You need to lose some weight. And I said, okay, what's the best way to do that? And he said, start running. And that's really all he needed to say, because I started running in December 2006, and I really haven't stopped since then.
Wow, so it's been quite a few years that you've been practicing this hobby. What is it that draws you to do it, and what is it that you love about it?
It really, it allows me to deal with stress. It does keep me happy, but and healthy. But the best things that it's given me, I've really fallen into some lifelong friendships with people, with other runners across the United States. I've met some people from overseas. It's also given me a really profound appreciation of nature and the beauty that's in Ohio and in the Midwestern United States. Again, we have a lot of parks in Ohio, and to be able to run those on an almost daily basis, it's a nice gift.
What is something hard or difficult that you have experienced while practicing this hobby? Because you practice for long distance running and that requires a lot. So can you tell us what are the things that have been difficult?
Sure. And really at first, I started just running for my health, and I sort of graduated and started running races, 5Ks. And then my Aunt Treese asked if I would run a 10K with her in downtown Cleveland. And I did. And after it was over, we had a great time. She took me to the finish line to watch the marathon finishers come in. A marathon is about 26.2 miles, 42K. And she said, I think you could do that. And this picture that's up right now is actually a picture from my first marathon that I ran a year later at my aunt's urging. And the difficult part is both finding time to do the training, to be in shape for it, but then also finding a balance, eating right, sleeping right, balancing time training with family time and work obligations and things like that. Training for a marathon or distance longer than that, it can be up to 20 hours a week. So it can be difficult to balance that time.
It's almost like a full-time job when you're practicing.
Yes, yes.
Wow. If you are just joining us, we are talking with Bob, who is currently in Cleveland, Ohio. And Bob is sharing with us about his favorite hobby, which is long distance running. What has been your most memorable experience with this hobby?
One of my best experiences was a number of years ago. I graduated from running marathons to running ultra marathons. And ultras are anything longer than 26.2 miles. So sometimes they're 50K or 50 miles or 100K or 100 miles. And I've run that distance of 100K at least 4 times in my life. This was from the Burning River 100-mile race. I'm there with buddies. Ethan and Eddie and Todd is in the other picture. That 100-mile race took me about 27 and a half hours to complete. And along the way, I had the assistance of friends and family members. But truly, being able to run 100 miles through the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, which is absolutely beautiful, and seeing 2 sunrises during that experience was a really memorable experience. I was able then to cross the finish line at that race with my daughters and my wife, and my siblings were there. It was a really special day, more than a day.
Wow, that sounds beautiful to be able to see the sunrise twice and have your family there waiting for you at the end. So I know that this is a pretty risky sport anyway. You know, it doesn't seem like it would be risky, but there can be some risk. So can you tell us a little bit about any scary or uncomfortable moments that you have gone through?
Sure, I've had, like most runners, I've had a few injuries along the way. It's sort of bound to happen. A couple years ago, I slipped on ice when I was running outside just down the street. I slipped and broke my foot, broke a bone in my foot. And then a couple years after that, I was running down the sidewalk, and it was a perfectly flat sidewalk. And I tripped on my own feet and sprayed out like I was Superman flying before I hit the ground. And I landed in the grass, and I didn't realize in the grass there was a steel spike in the ground, and my leg landed right on the spike, and the leg opened up. My friend George happened to be driving by at the same time, and I flagged him down, and he hurried me to the hospital down the road. But I ended up with 40 stitches, partly inside my leg, sort of down in the muscle. And then these were the exterior stitches. It was pretty scary. And the thing that upset me most about that fall was a few weeks later, I was supposed to run a race, and I couldn't. I had to stay home and hear about it from other friends. So that was difficult.
Wow. So we have a series of pictures that you share with us, because one of the things that you do as a hobby too is take beautiful pictures when you're in runs. So let's take a look at these pictures, and if you can give us a few words about each of them.
Sure. This is a waterfall. I live right on the edge of the Cleveland Metro Parks. I'm about a half a mile from the entrance to this park that essentially forms a necklace. It's called the Emerald Necklace around the city of Cleveland. And we're fortunate to live right at the edge of this. And almost any time I'm down in these metro parks now, I know exactly how far I am from my home, from where I'm sitting right now. So this is a waterfall down in the metro parks, about 4 miles away from where I am right now. And it's a great place to see the sunrise. I tell my daughters that any day that I'm able to see a sunrise, I know it's going to be a good day.
Let's do one more picture, and then I have a few questions from our audience. Let's look at this picture.
Sure. These are actually, both these pictures are from the past couple autumns here in Cleveland. And that's about 7 miles to the north of me. Beyond the bridges in the left-hand picture, about a half mile, is Lake Erie, one of the Great Lakes. And on the right-hand side is a deer, a buck that I came across. And that path with the green line on it extends all the way through the Cleveland Metro Park. So you can run really for more than 50 miles on that path all around Cleveland.
Now I have the last picture of your grandfather, and you shared a story with me earlier, and I just wanted to hear the story one more time because it's so beautiful. So if we can go to that picture and if you can tell us a little bit about the story.
Sure. A few summers ago, sometimes I'll run listening to music or podcasts or books on tape and use different headphones and devices. But one summer I decided to try and experiment. And my grandpa passed away several years ago, but I remembered being with him. This picture was taken in Western New York, and birds were flying overhead, or as birds would go past, he would say to me, "Bob, that's a cardinal, that's a blue jay, that's a sparrow." And he could identify the birds just by their sounds, by their songs. And I thought, I was always amazed by that. And so one summer, I put away my music, put away my earphones, and I ran all summer and decided I'm going to learn bird sounds like my grandfather knew. So it did take all summer, and there are multiple websites out there where you can double check bird sounds. But I became pretty adept at, knowing when there's a cardinal or a mourning dove or a kingfisher bird along the trail down in the metro parks.
That is so beautiful and such a great way to connect to nature. So we have a few questions from our audience. We have Louise asking, what marathon is still on the bucket list? And I think you had shared that with me too. And I had a picture of your next destination. Where do you want to go?
One of my favorite cities that I've been able to visit in the past is Paris. And I would love someday to be able to run the streets of Paris and run the Paris Marathon. I'd love to be able to run the Comrades Ultra Marathon in South Africa. And I have several picked out. And once the world opens up, hopefully I'll be able to do that.
Yes, definitely. We have Zafar is asking, how much do you run daily in average?
On average, it's about 7 or 8 miles. So this morning, I didn't go outside today. I have a treadmill in my basement. I ran 8 miles on my treadmill as a sort of birthday run for myself.
We have Razan asking, do you drink any energy drinks before running?
Actually, the drink I love the most is coffee. And I'll drink a couple cups of coffee in the morning and then get on the treadmill or head out the door. I don't eat very much anymore before I run, but a good cup of hot coffee does the trick for me more than anything else.
I will be with you in that one. I agree. Coffee. Coffee is my drink. We have a few more questions. Do you still have high blood pressure? Or have it under control?
It's under control. If anything, it's a little bit low. And when I do go to the doctor and they take it or check my heart rate, inevitably the nurse will say, "Oh, you must be a runner because your heart rate and blood pressure are really good." And
they already know before you go that you are a runner.
Right.
So great job taking care of yourself. Okay, we have one more comment. And we have Indra Nurani saying, "Oh, that's great. I love poems and poetry. How about haiku? Do you teach that to your students?"
I do. I'm teaching 2 poetry classes this semester, and students have experimented a lot with different forms, including haikus and sonnets and villanelles. So it's a lot of fun trying out those different forms.
Yes. Okay. So we have a few more questions, but unfortunately our time is up. We have gone a little bit over. So thank you very much for your time. But we'll try to get to some of these questions later on today. So I want to thank you again, Bob, for being here on your birthday and for sharing with us your story and motivating us a little bit to exercise and to keep a healthy life. That is always good, and it's good to hear that you're doing well after starting to run, and now it has become your hobby. So thank you again, Bob.
Thank you, Sandra, and thank everyone for joining us today.
We'd like to thank our audience for such a lively engagement today. We have tons of questions and we love to see them, so continue to post them and continue to share your ideas and thoughts through social media. Don't forget to check out our amazing resources to help you practice English. You can check out our Facebook page, YouTube channel, and our website, americanenglish.state.gov. And thanks again for joining us. Happy birthday. Take care, and we look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks for our next session of Faces and Places across the United States. We encourage you to continue to engage with our community virtually like you have done today. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.